Yeah, we are back and we are live. Don't short out on me now. Don't die on me now, Super Will. I need you, Super Will. Let's see here. All right, we're good. Okay, so hi, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the PTPod, the best conversational show on the internet. All the internet. That's right. Don't look. Don't go anywhere else. Just tune in here, share with your friends, watch all of our old shows, look forward to our new shows, and you're good. You need no other shows. So, ladies and gentlemen, speaking of needing no other shows, a lady I just did an amazing show with. You can see her. She's amazing. She's gorgeous. She's ready to make you laugh and to tell you a little bit more about herself. Give it up for Miss Charity Jones.
Hello, hello. Thank you for having me.
Heck yeah. Thank you for doing the dang thing. Speaking of doing the dang thing, you killed it last Saturday night in Tulsa. We did a show fresh off of Vegas and 14 other shows. You're doing 100 different things. How's it going? How did that show compare to other shows you've been doing lately? And what's like the state of comedy? You know, I haven't been on the road in a while and you're grinding. So, you know, what's it like right now?
Thank you. It's so fun, but it's also exhausting. Yeah, that was a fun show we did though. That was great. That was the first time I've danced on stage.
The first time ever? Oh.
Well, in a group setting.
Well, I'm glad I was there for that. I'm glad I was there. You know, to mix it up and take apart. Yeah, I love the venue. So, and you're out of Tulsa currently, right?
Yes, I am currently a resident of Tulsa. Yeah. It is my home base.
And how long have you been there?
It'll be 2 years in July. I'm from Northwest Arkansas. Yeah, moved here almost 2 years ago. So
awesome. Let's see here. So yeah, instead of grilling, feel free to tell us how'd you end up in Tulsa? You know what I mean? Tell a story. This is crazy, but like comedians like to talk normally, but I don't want to. I don't want to throw your game off here.
No, my game has been a little off today. I had a long day at work, and then I got in some Facebook drama a little bit. But
I saw that with D.
D, I don't think so.
Mr. Oates.
Oh yeah, I forgot he has two names. Yeah, but you know,
is that the drama you're talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so.
I thought, oh, Charity, just keep your mouth shut. Why do you say anything? But no, it's fine. You know, it just comes with comedy. We were going to talk about that, right? The pains of comedy.
Yes. Well, I wanted to talk about the whole thing. First things first, I wanted to know, let's see here. Let me share this. I'm making sure everything is shared and everybody is out and doing the thing. So yeah, the Facebook drama. You know, here's the thing. I live in the Facebook drama. I'm actually making strides. You know what I mean? I'm making legit strides to not be involved in the Facebook drama. It doesn't make you happy. It doesn't fix the problems. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dude, I've spent days. You know, you understand. I was, you know, very politically active in this last election and stuff like that. And, you know, so, well, it led to some great opportunities. I got to travel. A lot of people I know I've met through that are great folks. But by the same token, you get death threats. Your wife gets death threats. Your, you know, 70-year-old mother gets doxxed on the internet and, you know, threats to, you know, stuff like that. So, you know, it's cute when I see a little Facebook drama. I'm like, y'all have no idea. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
y'all are cute. Y'all haven't even, you know, because I mean, I live in that Twitter world, or used to. I do still, but I live in that Twitter world where it's like, have you seen Twitter? Have you been on Twitter lately?
No, I haven't been on there at all. Yeah, stay away from the Twitter. I just got a TikTok like 2 weeks ago.
Ooh, so. Lovely. Yeah, I still don't have a TikTok. I mean, I do. Okay, so I have a TikTok. Huh?
I looked for you. Yeah, you were not there.
I have like an account officially, right? Like, but I don't post or anything to TikTok. I should. everybody's like, dude, you got to go TikTok, and clips are the thing, and investing the time and energy and effort into doing all that. They're like, TikTok is the thing, man. I know people that they've used that as their main growth driver. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's what everybody keeps telling me too. So I finally caved. And my kids are on there. They use it the most, probably. So, well, except for one of my kids. I have twins. They're 22.
you got 22-year-old twins.
Yes.
I love it.
And one will communicate with me on TikTok and we send each other things, but the other said that they're not ready. So
to be on TikTok or to have a relationship with you on TikTok?
To have a relationship with me on TikTok, for me to see their TikToks.
That's fair. So you're originally from Northwest Arkansas, NWA, shout out.
Yeah.
I back in the day I did some comedy out there. You know what I mean? Oh gosh, you know what? I don't know if they like me, so I won't even say their names because let's not. They're like, I like that. I don't have a problem with them, but you just never know in this game. But yeah, I worked with some old schoolers out there, and somebody that I did work with, Luke Perkins. I know was a promoter, I think, still out there. So I did a couple of his shows way back in the day, and worked with a lot of those NWA comics back then. So
yeah,
probably 6-8 years ago. So yeah, man, it's
cool.
a great place. So what made you decide to go from Northwest Arkansas to Tulsa? Let's start there.
Okay. Well, there was a combination of factors. I wanted to sell my house and downsize. My kids had moved out, and I basically had just always wanted to move to a city. And Fayetteville's still relatively small. I mean, Northwest Arkansas as a whole has grown a lot, but I was familiar with Tulsa. I've always visited Tulsa throughout growing up, childhood, I guess, or life. And so it's kind of an easy transition, and I can always drive home to see the kids. I go back to Northwest Arkansas probably at least twice a month. So
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And it is beautiful there. But Tulsa, being in Oklahoma City, it's just not, the landscape just isn't as gorgeous as Tulsa. And, as you get farther that way, man, you get more hills, greenery, that kind of thing. It's gorgeous up there. So
it is. I miss it a lot, but there's so many things going on in Tulsa all the time.
And so you wanted vibe. Was comedy a part of that decision? Like, were you like, it's going to be easier to pursue comedy in kind of a town that has more going on than Fayetteville, and this is the closest, easiest one? Or had you not thought about doing comedy yet?
Well, it was a subconscious thought, really. I mean, I knew I wanted to get back into it, and I, for some reason, felt like it was easier not knowing anyone, just coming in fresh and clean and, just starting with a blank slate. And but no, my main motivation for moving was kind of the real estate market, and I've always just wanted to get out of Fayetteville. I mean, I love it there, but I wanted to experience new things. I love to travel, and I really hope to get to a bigger city. I feel like Tulsa's kind of my transition city, my first step away from home. My dad lives like a mile and a half down one way, and my brother a mile the other way from my old house. So this was my baby step.
No, and that's that's awesome. When I was 20, I went to I moved to Hawaii. So, for about 15 years or so. So yeah, man,
wow.
I do understand what it is to just kind of need to go. You know what I mean? Sorry, I'm sharing our stuff. Drop in now.
It's okay. No, I felt like it was totally time for me to start living my dreams.
Heck yeah. Well, and the cool part about it is you raised your kids, you made sure they were good, you made sure they were living, you know what I mean, that they were kind of taken care of in a way, and now you're following your dreams, and I think that's badass. And you said you've been back to doing comedy for about a year.
Yes. Yep, it's been about a year. I started out just doing the open mics and getting out there and making connections and networking and making friends and showing up and putting in the work and doing classes and reading books and writing jokes, writing terrible jokes.
Scam, but just so you know, comedy classes are a street. Okay, so The only reason you would spend the time and the money in a comedy class is if it was connected to a club that you then got to play on a regular basis. Other than that, comedy classes are a scam. Anyway,
Well, you could lead that with your opinion is that comedy classes are a scam.
or just state the fact that comedy classes are a scam.
I don't think so. I felt like I got a lot of
Hey, look, Charity.
You better kill me. I'm gonna be another rapper dead for popping off at the mouth with shit I shouldn't have said.
So the point is, comedy classes are. But anyway, I mean,
Okay, well, I felt like I gained some valuable
quick
information,
question.
but I
How many-
totally went because of
how many comedy classes did Gilda Radner take? How many comedy classes did
I think the coach.
Whitney Cummings take? How many comedy classes
You would be
did?
surprised at how many of them went through the American Comedy Institute.
Oh,
And
well, yeah, no. Well, yeah, and I'm trying to break that whole thing too. I'm on the other side of it. How many comedy classes did Richard Pryor take or George Carlin? You know what I'm saying? So
well, I don't know these answers, Michael.
none.
I'm not a Google machine.
The answer is 0.
I don't feel like you wholeheartedly know that either.
So, hey, no, look, I understand if.
Well,
if
how
it's a
many classes
thing-
have you taken and not felt that were beneficial?
Oh, I don't know, half a dozen.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there. Well, here's the thing. Look, I'm going to say it like this. There's no working comedian teaching a comedy class that you want to be on their level. You usually want to be past their level. Anybody who is a quote unquote working comedian teaching a comedy class and hasn't made it to, full-time agency bookings and full-time touring and a 30-minute special and guest spots on sitcoms or late night shows, if they're not there, which is where you want to be as a comic, then I don't want to learn from you because you can't teach me what I need to know. You know what I mean? If you can't teach me what, a producer is going to say 5 minutes and 30 seconds into a 6-minute set that I'm doing on NBC because you've never been there, what can you really teach me? To tell jokes? I tell jokes. Also, I don't want your style. You know what I mean? I'm not interested in your style. I'm interested in my own. Now, there are basics in the same way. Look, I love music, played guitar for 25 plus years. And yeah, you need to learn chords. You need to learn scales. You need to learn certain things. So when you get with other people, you guys are speaking the same language. And I'm down with that. You know what I mean? Callback, setup, punchline. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Rule of threes, blah, blah, blah. It's important to learn those things, but you can learn those things from working an open mic. However, if you feel like comedy classes are the best way to do that, I'm with you 100%. But there's a point where it's like, okay, once I know the basics, I need to get out there. I need to play my own guitar. I need to create my own style. And I would say comedy more than music, right? Because with music, you literally, everything is just a copy of other stuff. You know what I mean? The hottest song out, one of the hottest songs out right now is that Bruno Mars and that other girl song. And it's like, da, 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 da. I'm like, that's 80s. It's literally 80s music, 80s keys, 80s beats. Comedy, you can't do that. I can't come up and recycle, you know what I mean? David Brenner jokes from his stand-up in the 80s in New York and just start doing them like you can music. And you can't make a living as a cover comic either. Like, oh yeah, no, I'm working the road doing Carlin's bits from 72. That's not, you know what I mean? You got to have your own thing. So sorry, you quit talking on me. I was waiting for you to interrupt, get passionate. Help me. Help me.
You
Help
just
me.
went ahead and ran with it.
Like, you know what I mean? Just
like
sorry.
you just asked me on here to sit and look pretty.
Oh, and you're doing a great job. You know what I mean?
Well, thank you.
No, I
No,
was
I
just
think-
saying.
Okay, it's my turn. I do think that it does matter at what point you are in your comedy journey. I mean, you do want somebody that's higher in the journey than you or more successful or whatever you want to say. But I mean, I did that. There's nothing wrong with doing it. I went to New York and went to the Comedy Institute, a workshop that was 4 or 5 nights, and then we did perform at Gotham Comedy Club, and that was a huge motivator for also signing up for that workshop. I knew that was where the performance at the end of the week would be. But I felt like we learned a lot. But like you said, I was new to comedy, or still, I'm still pretty new, but and it, and I have worked with a couple people and coaches and things, and like you don't want their style. And sometimes I disagree with them. They give me their advice on a joke, and I think, no, I've tried that joke a couple times and I like it and I feel good about it. And so I throw that piece away, or I adjust it and be like, okay, I could clean that up here or do something there, and can kind of take their point of view and mesh it with mine. But I wouldn't say that they're completely worthless. I mean, but you're right. I do want to go to somebody that's higher in the journey than me. And I feel like you have to keep, moving to find that, like keep working with people.
Yeah, and to correct myself and to come down on your side, because that is one thing I always try to do. It's why everybody hates me, because I try to see every side of every argument. It's like I can have opinions on things because I've, looked at the research, and, people are like, "Rah!" And I'm like, yeah, man, look, you know what I'm saying? I look at both sides because everybody's wrong and everybody's right. You know what I mean? You are the villain in some people's story, and you're the hero in other people's story. And both times you probably never meant to be either. You know what I mean? You're just trying to do your thing. So looking at it from both sides, something that going to New York and playing that stage and working on Gotham, and with that gives you the one thing you can't buy, and that's confidence. And you are a very confident comic. I love that about you. You're not a dick at all. You're not, you're not snooty. You're not snobbish, but you are very confident in who you are and your ability. And that's inspiring to other comics around you. So, that's important. And if a comedy class helps you get that, I say, hell yeah. You know what I mean? You're like, look, I paid the price. I've done the work. You know what I mean? I went to gritty New York. You know what I mean? I came out of pocket. I busted my ass. And I got on that stage and I got laughs in one of the toughest rooms in America. So I can come back to Tulsa. I can play Dallas. I can, you know what I mean? I can work around.
Yeah. It did help a lot. We got up in front of the class every night and did our sets, and he critiqued us in front of the class. And even just being critiqued like that in front of all of these people you really don't know. There was probably like 12 or 15 in the class, but it did help build your confidence. You had to get thicker and thicker skin, But yeah, by the end of the week, I was like, oh, got this. I'm in New York City, I'm
a New York comic now, baby. That's awesome. That's awesome. So do you have favorite rooms yet? Do you have rooms where you're like, okay, this room kind of feels, because it's hard, right? So like a lot of comics talk about home clubs. You know what I mean? We're getting deep into comedy here. I was trying to get deep into your life, but you're like, we're staying. Look, here's the thing. I don't want you to know.
Move around.
Have I ever been married? Have I ever been divorced? Maybe. Have I ever had sex? Well, I have children, but maybe they were from a test tube. You don't know, Mike, and we're not talking about it. I'm like, okay, my bad. But anyway, I'm kidding. But a lot of comics refer to a club as their home club. It's really hard nowadays. It's not like that where you start at a comedy club and then you get passed to be, you know what I mean, the MC, and then you get middle spots, and then you're middling on the weekends, and then they, bump you to headliner on off nights, and then they have sister clubs, and, you go to Dallas and you go to Kansas City or Wichita and you work, one-nighters, and, it's just not the way it works anymore. There's 14 different shows going on tonight. Good Lord. I know of at least in Tulsa and Oklahoma City alone, I know of at least 3 open mics tonight. And I'm not even digging. I'm not looking. If I was digging for open mics and willing to do music or poetry mics, I'm sure there's at least 4 or 5 between the 2 cities. In Oklahoma, which ain't Austin, ain't LA, ain't New York.
I was saying that last night, that Tulsa's hot for comedy.
Agreed.
It's a hot spot. Yeah. I'm going to an open mic right after this over at
Juju Rashad?
No, at Rabbit Hole. Ethan Paul Barton.
I don't even know him.
Oh, he's a cute kid.
I've been out of the game. I've been out of that game so long. You know what I mean? That
he's pretty new.
Yeah, I gotta hit up some open mic. Man, there's nothing an old comic hates more than open mics. Boy, I will tell you what. I can't. How I hate the open mics. Let me tell you the ways. But
I haven't been in a while. It'll be fun to reconnect with everybody and get up there.
They're so
and
important.
Around.
They're so important. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They are the grind. They are the mudding. You know what I mean? That you do. They are the hike through the mud that you have to do. I just hate them. So you know what I mean? I'm like, Skeeter, you're 19. screaming about how frustrated you are with how the world works and how hard you have it. Shut up, okay? You're a film student telling me how hard the world is. Stop it. The only laughable thing is that you're here, okay? Stop it. Anyway,
Yeah, sometimes sitting through some of the sets is painful, but
no, it's
you got to do it, like you said. You got to do it, and it's fun hanging out after with everybody.
Right. No, I want to go to the Juju Rashad one. In fact, I'm gonna try to get there next weekend. So,
Is that your mama's house?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
So
yeah, I
try to
haven't
come
been to
out
that one yet.
if you're around next Thursday. Try to come out. I also got a guy in from LA and Hawaii that's actually gonna move to Austin, but he's here in OKC for like a month or excuse me. So, and we're gonna go up there. I want to hit that with him as well. So, yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll message me. I'll probably forget, but I'll come out.
Try to get Lynn to go and see if we can get Miss Treese out there. Just everybody, the homies, and support Juju. You know what I mean? He's working hard and talk about Facebook drama.
Oh,
so being my age-ish, it's hard. This is the thing that I think is the hardest is that we're a generation who went from Nokia cell phones and MySpace, to living on social media. There are people that live. I know streamers that literally stream 6, 7, 8 hours a day. They will go live and, they cover all kinds of topics. But that's the thing. I know guys that are making a good living, but they're like, man, you got to go live 4 hours a day. I'm like, oh my gosh,
that's insane.
But then you got your Twitter people, your reply guys that live there, and they can make a living. They truly can make a living at it. But I wonder, man, it's like it's just a different world. You know what I mean? The Facebook, this stuff would have never happened in 20 years
life.
Ago, say. So yeah, and it really doesn't happen much in real life either. Because these people are all in the same towns, they never confront each other, and that
I know.
I think that's the core difference, right? Where we come from, we have these problems. I'll show up. You know what I mean? We're gonna deal with this.
I mean, we're gonna talk about it.
Yeah.
I'll ask you to sit down and have a conversation. Like,
what are we gonna do?
I'm not gonna throw hands, but we're gonna, we're gonna have a conversation with Miss Jones.
Yeah. So how do you think it's different? Like what? I see you do a great job on social media.
One.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thanks. I think it's just where we're at in life. Some people are still in painful situations or in painful spots with their self and their mental health, or they haven't learned how to navigate with enough confidence yet to brush things off as fast. I don't know. I think it comes with maturity, though, and age. I wasn't always great at it. I mean, I've been a drama queen for sure.
Well, there's one thing comedians hate. It's mental health and maturity. We do not do either.
I know. I have to remind myself sometimes, like, okay, remember, this isn't your only world. Like,
yeah. Not only that, but like, this is inherently dysfunctional. You know what I mean? This is inherently a dysfunctional world where the most successful people most of the time are really good at this, but really bad at other things. So understand that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, although I will say, I feel like it's kind of the era of the functional comedian, right? If you look at like Nate Bargatze, Christina Pizzitti.
He's going to be in Northwest Arkansas Saturday.
Very
Sorry,
cool.
I cut you off.
No. That's very cool. I love that. And probably sold out already. I bet
his night show there's a 2:30 matinee I was going to maybe go to, but I think I'm going to go to Mayfest in Tulsa. Anyway, I totally
what's Mayfest?
Conversation. It's a festival downtown in Tulsa around Guthrie Green. There's art booths and there's music on the stage. I think for 3 days. There's a beer garden or whatever. And food trucks. See if you can get
it in between band spot. That's what we used to do. Seriously, back in the day, that's what we used to do. Nobody does it anymore.
Yeah.
But you go to these arts places like this, you figure out who's doing it, and they're going to have teardown time in between bands. You're like, hey, I'm a local comedian. I can keep it PG. I'd love to come up on stage in between bands, maybe go up, tell everybody how excited I am to be here, maybe mention something if you'd like me to mention it, and do 5-7 minutes of comedy.
Oh, that's a great idea.
They used to let you a lot of times. So,
Yeah.
and I did that a ton here in Norman because there's always bands playing. It's like, hey man, in between, it's like you've got a 20-30 minute setup in between where it's just an empty stage. Let me go up there. Let me tell some jokes. Let me bring up the next band, get people excited, that kind of thing. Tell them to check out the funnel cake stand, whatever you guys want. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Oh, heck yeah. I might do that.
I would.
If I don't do it at this festival, I'm going to do it at the next one.
All they can do is say no. All they can
That's
do
right.
is say no. You know what I mean? And you don't got the gig now. So you recently, I didn't get the answer. Do you have a favorite spot? Do you have a spot that when you walk in, you feel like that's home for you?
That would be Bricktown, Tulsa for me with Bark Entertainment. But I don't know that they love me as much as I love them.
I was going to say, are you a Bark comedian yet? That's the goal,
Not really.
Right?
Not really. I mean, just their open mics. I'm closing their open mic Tuesday next week. And then I've hosted and, closed a couple times. And I did their bringer show. Brought 38 people to their bringer show.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a great turnout. I was shocked.
Too bad you couldn't have brought 38 people to our show. But anyway, moving on.
I brought more like 8.
There's one thing Bricktown Comedy Club needs. It's your money. It's struggling comedians that don't need the support. Continue on. I'm kidding. I'm being a
But I do want to be one of their house comedians. I've got a friend that I met in San Antonio at that all-female festival at Upstage Comedy Lounge. Oh gosh, I'm so terrible with names. I should shout her out. But she is a house comedian for the Bark Entertainment in Tacoma. And so I'm hoping to go up there and work with her sometime. So if old Joe in Tulsa doesn't scoop me up, I'm going to go for Tacoma soon.
Are you going to move? Would you move there?
No. It'd be too cold.
I've got some friends close to that area. And in fact, I'm going on a trip to like the Pacific Northwest this summer. It'll be my first, like maybe ever. Well, since I was a child, it'll be my first road trip that's not work. It's like going to see in-laws and meet family with we're doing a whole thing, So, and I've never done that. Like you know what I mean? I've always traveled for work, I travel for work, and so, so it'll be interesting. You know what I mean? It'll be interesting. It'll be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to meeting my wife's family. I'm looking forward to doing a regular guy thing, because, at the point you get into your 40s, you're like, maybe I should try to do a regular guy thing. Maybe I should go on a regular vacation and visit family and versus, you know what I mean? Just like, oh, there's a gig, I'll go, and let me see if I can line up another gig on the way back. And I got 2 gigs. Now I got gas money and hot dog money. Yay, I'm going to be famous.
And a free beer. Woo.
Netflix is calling any minute now. So.
Oh, goodness. I had something to say, and now I can't remember. But
oh, good. No, so Bark Entertainment, man, they're doing it too. I have friends even in like LA and Hawaii that are like, man, Bark is awesome. How do you get on with them? And I was like, I don't know. I do not know.
They do have some local openers. Trevor Carry-On's opened there several times, and Roscoe opens there. He's working there. So they do have some local people, comics.
Yeah, I got I know a couple of headliners. In fact, I got one that'll be there in a month or 2. And last time he came through, the wife was sick with COVID, so there was no way we were going.
Yeah.
And I'll see if I can get a spot. He's usually pretty cool about throwing spots, and then I can just come in and do a spot, and so you know what I mean? I feel like it's not fair, but it's almost better to be like, oh, this headliner who tours, who's been doing comedy for 20 years, has television credits and 5 podcasts and 1 million followers, has me, a guy who lives in the state, on stage opening for him, because the last time I opened for him, I was in New York City and then did Jersey with him. So, you know what I mean? But I get no love locally, but the headliners locally want me to open for them, which means I'm a working comic, So
I think that's great. And I don't think it's unfair. I mean, this whole game is networking.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's unfair to local comics. I hate the way it's set up, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, but your win's not somebody else's loss necessarily. I wouldn't see it that way.
I agree. I agree with that. It's just, You're working hard. You're working hard. You can be hilarious, but a guy at a club doesn't like you. Then
Oh.
you go to New York, or you have a podcast that people like. They think you're funny. You get to work with them, and then these clubs that you've worked at, you've brought people to, you've kissed their ass.
Yeah.
If you will.
Oh, I totally understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I can get gigs out of town way easier than in Tulsa. I mean, I've started to have a little more circulation in Tulsa, but there's still a lot of bookers in Tulsa that have not reached out, I'll say.
Well, I feel like
Yet.
in Tulsa right now,
Yet.
there's a lot of complaint about a certain group not booking people.
Oh,
And first of all, I don't even know who that whole damn group is. All I know is that all my friends are on the other side, as usual. You know what I mean? I don't have friends on that side, I think. So maybe I do. I don't know. But I mean, I'm old school. Like, I don't know half the people there anymore. Like, I know Evan because I came up with Evan. You know what I mean? Like Evan did his first 4 or 5 shows we did together practically. Zach Amon, same thing. I go way back with Zach. DeMario, of course. Butter, I go back, Joe and me go way back. I did shows with Velly Vel, who you've heard of, but maybe never met. I did shows with Vel.
Right.
So, in fact, I got to book Vel on a pretty cool nightclub show. So, you know what I mean? That's how far I go back. So a lot of these newbies that want to, sling shit and talk this and that, and they're doing, no, thank you. Shauna Blake, I know. You know what I mean? I go way back with. So, but what I was going to say with that,
great.
yeah, she's killing it. Love Shauna. What I was going to say to that is, understand they're looking for a certain thing, right? And it's something that you understand once you get in, entertainment on a certain level, is that, like, if you're an actor in LA, you get your SAG card. You can go on 3 auditions a day for extras or stand-ins or, whatever the case may be. But they're looking for a certain thing, and you might show up, and they're just like, no. And you don't talk to the director. It's a director's assistant that's like, hey, sorry, you don't have what we're quite looking for this. And if you have a good agent, they'll not send you on too many of those. But a lot of them are just open calls. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're looking for something, and you're not that thing they're looking for. Or maybe you do comedy, and they're looking for a certain kind of comedy. I mean, I know for me, it was, you don't think like we want you to think. So you are therefore excommunicated. And I was like, fine, I don't want to be a part of anything that would excommunicate me that is artistic. So, I'm fine with that. But I just want to encourage people, if you're not getting booked by certain folks, it's okay, because maybe they're just not, maybe you wouldn't like those gigs. Maybe those gigs wouldn't build your audience and do what you need it to do. And maybe better do a podcast, or maybe better cut up some clips of your last show and put them out. You're going to get 1,000 views versus the 25 people that you're mad you're not getting booked in front of for free on a Tuesday night. Sometimes, I'm not saying always, but there are all these different ways to attack this. You know what I mean? And that's what I want. That's what I'm trying to bring, especially to the people. I appreciate you, Juju, Mystery. There's a bunch. I don't want to name everybody. There's a bunch. But I want to show these cats that it's like, it's not 1997 anymore, where you got to wait on somebody to approve of you or to like you, to put you on a tour or to book you. You can do your own thing. You can go viral. You know what I mean? I'm getting, I'm with all of the things I'm doing, I'm getting over 10,000 views a week. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, nice.
And so, but that's with everything. You know what I mean? But I'm getting well over 10,000 views a week, including shorts, clips, all social medias. So shout out to our chat, by the way. Thank you, everybody, for coming in. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Follow Charity Jones Comedy. But the point there is, I don't do a lot of stand-up, and it kills me, and I miss it. But it's also maybe helped me more than just doing local stand-up, right? So, what are your thoughts on that? Like, pushing your social media, maybe overworking local scenes, kind of thing. Like, what do you think about that?
Well, to the point that you were saying that sometimes, you just don't fit on that show. And that's exactly right. I mean, there's certain venues I don't really want to do. There's, so yeah, I get that. I definitely want to vibe with the audience and the room and want to enjoy being at the venue.
Oh, it's cool. By the way, my beverage has a green top, and because it's a green screen,
that's why it shows through.
Yes, you can't see it because it's a green. Anyway, sorry.
But no, I love doing comedy out of town. And I feel like, I don't know, that it's even more of a compliment to get on those shows. I mean, I don't know if that sounds bad, but it's a compliment to me because they're only judging you from your stage presence, your comedy, your video. There is no click. There's no who are you friends with. There's no, you might have a little networking in there, privilege or networking advantage, I should say, if you know somebody that knows somebody and you send them a clip. But that doesn't, that only goes so far. If you're not any good, they're not going to put you on the show just because so and so likes you or, so getting these out of town gigs, I feel like is a big compliment just because they're seeing my video and they're giving me a chance, they're giving me a shot. So I really enjoy doing out of town comedy. And I don't know, you just bring so much energy on a brand new stage every time. And, you get nervous all over again and it's a whole new audience. And like we were talking about the venues, these comedy clubs that people are attending and paying for to laugh, with the intentions of going to a comedy show is such a much easier crowd than something that's, not everybody's there to see the comedy. So
You mean like going to an actual comedy venue to perform comedy versus like a punk rock club or open
there's all kinds of places to do comedy. It's not limited to comedy clubs by any means.
It isn't. Hey, our last show was one of my favorite shows I've done in a very long time. And in fact, I've done 2 comedy clubs were my last 2 gigs before this show. And I love that venue as much as the comedy clubs, maybe a little more because it had this vibe, bro. Like,
well, that's a killer venue. I mean, that is a hot venue. It's cute. It's in a, that whole, I hate to call it compound, but that whole complex or whatever it is just really neat and artsy, and the whole vibe it's just very, very
yeah.
cool
If I
place.
time we do anything there, man, it's the key would be to go down there and hang out, right? So if you're doing a Saturday night show, Thursday, Friday night, you're eating tacos, you're chilling, you know what I mean? Old school with some flyers, you know what I mean? Hey, come see our show, because there's enough people there to support. Excuse me, I think you just got to work it. I think you got to know how to work that vibe. But yeah, that was awesome. And that's what I love about Tulsa, man. It's just such a creative scene like that. I feel like, people are going to find a space and they're going to do cool shit with it. Period. The end. And I feel
go
ahead.
Evan was doing comedy at the Barbie Museum there for a while it was on display.
Right.
And that was fun. That was really cool. All the vintage Barbies everywhere and comedy.
Heck yeah. And that actually got some national love. Like people were,
Did it?
Yeah, that venue got some love, that idea. So
yeah.
I love that. I love that. I want to do what I really want to do is it sounds crazy. I want to do like conference room, like hotel conference rooms. Just dry and crappy, but they're set up to be boring in a way, but they're set up where the only thing that's entertaining is the person speaking. Right? The walls are drab. You know what I mean? Like everything is drab. It's like, why would you do comedy here? But then you have people roaring and cracking up, and you have a good space. You have a decent space. If you go to a decent hotel, there'll be a restaurant there and that kind of thing. So you have everything you need, but you take these typically boring spaces and you turn them into something cool and hilarious would be my thought on that. So
yeah,
sort of like
you bring them in.
Yeah. Well, good luck. Have you? And let me ask you that. You did Vegas recently for folks who don't know. What was that like? What were the crowds like? Were they different?
Well, my first show was at To Kill a Little Time. It was a Mexican bar and grill. And so that was actually pretty good. It didn't start until late enough that most people were there for the comedy and not eating fajitas while doing comedy. But that one, there was a lot of comics there. But it was okay. And then the Comedy Rumble at Wise Guys over in the Arts District. That was so fun. I hate to say, I really don't feel like it was a hard crowd. For one, the wrestling extravaganza was there that week. What's it called? The
WWE,
Yeah.
WrestleMania. Yeah,
WrestleMania. Yeah.
yeah.
Wrestle
Which
extravaganza.
is like a 2-night event. Yeah. So
Yeah, it was huge. I mean, there were fans everywhere and wrestlers. There were some good looking wrestlers walking around Vegas. But but the wrestling fans were a great crowd. They were just ready to have fun.
Hell
you
yeah.
know? Yeah. So
I was
and there
kind of
was a-
jealous. I had a lot of friends there, man. A lot of friends. So I had
Did
to wait.
you?
I have to wait because you can't go to Vegas every weekend or every month,
Yeah.
right? So June, I'll be there in June for International Fight Week. So yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, I
Um,
had an opportunity to go back and do a show at the same club, Wise Guys, on May 31st, but I got to take a little break. I've been investing a lot in comedy.
yeah, no, it'll get you there. So yeah. Are you what are you looking to do? Are you looking to like maybe get a booker, an agent? Are you looking to just keep booking gigs, kind of handle it on your own? Are you looking to maybe start a podcast? Like, what are you thinking about doing? What's like your next moves?
Well, I don't know. I'm in a weird state where I'm just kind of taking all of it in right now. I've thought about starting a podcast. I really love being a guest, but you know. And I'm co-hosting a podcast right now this month, so that's given me some experience.
Do tell us about it. Promote.
Yeah. If margaritas could talk about being the chronicles of 40 and over, so living life and our best lives. And
If margaritas could talk, is it on YouTube?
it is on YouTube. Yep, and Spotify. If margaritas could talk, it's with Tracy Lynn, and I've really enjoyed that. We record every Friday in May, so we'll do our next recording tomorrow, and then the episodes drop on Tuesdays. So that's been fun. But yeah, for the future, I don't know. I would like to get into some corporate gigs. I've thought about getting an agent, or I've really considered getting some social media help. If there's anybody out there that wants to be a social media manager or whatever it's called, I don't know the names, but keeping up with this social media side of things is insane.
It is.
There it is.
There you go.
Yay.
This is your podcast you do? I love it.
Yes, and the co-host all this month.
Nice.
So
Nice.
yeah. And I did an episode about a month ago. If you scroll down, I think I'm on there.
From the other side of youth?
Well, that's the one that just released this week. We recorded that last week, so it's only a couple days out.
I love it. I'm going to check it out. I'm excited. That's going to be awesome. So,
well, thank you.
I want to see your setup.
Sound like you. She's going to do it anyway, Mom.
Oh, you guys are straight audio. Very cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Very cool. It sounds interesting. Now I want to do a podcast where we listen to this podcast. Podcastception. You know what I mean? So, but everybody go check that out. That's awesome. I love that. I love
Thank you.
So I think that you are extremely marketable, specifically to the demo that you're relating to. Plus, you're funny. For those of you that don't know, she kills on the stage. You're not getting the work you're getting and the bookings you're getting because you're not good, because you're friends with people. You're getting these because, like you were saying, you've earned it, and you're doing a great job. You're doing a great job.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
You were the only one. Well, because I knew everybody else. I hadn't worked with you yet, but I'd worked with everybody else. And they're all like friends and stuff. But I was a little nervous. I was like, "Uh-oh, the hitter is coming." You know what I mean? The heat bringer is coming. So I was excited about that because you're known to be a beast lately. So yeah.
Well, thanks. That's so weird for me to hear, but thank you.
That's crazy. Yeah. Well, I mean, you're going out and you're doing it. You know what I mean? You're not waiting on opportunities.
Yeah.
You're not complaining for lack of opportunities. You're jumping on everything you have. So.
Yeah. I feel like there is just no time to wait. I mean, and I don't want to wait on somebody else to do it.
Right.
And, but I've never really been that way. I've kind of always been a bulldozer.
You have did you get a degree? Did you go to college?
I did.
You just grow up in the mountains of Arkansas and rode a razor back into town and grabbed a mic and started telling jokes? Like, you know what I'm saying?
No, I got married really young. If you want to go all the way back, I got married at 19. I got divorced at 27. I went back to college. I got my master's at 32, I think.
What's your master's in?
I have a master's in science with
Wow.
in speech language pathology. Yes. So I'm a
think
speech
that's-
therapist.
The wife is going for the master's, like she just enrolled, and I think it's either that or something. She's a teacher, so public school teacher.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
I think that's something she's doing because, like, so
Yeah, there's a lot of benefits to having your master's as a teacher.
that's what I'm saying. That's what she
Yeah.
noticed, and so because
Yeah, good for her. Good for her.
I do podcasts, so whatever we can do to make her more valuable, let's do that. So
I know if I found a rich man, it would really set my career off.
keep doing the comedy. I would recommend and we'll get some clips here, but I would recommend Think Clips. It seems to be the main, everything I'm studying and learning is the driver for everything else.
Yeah.
To the point of sorry, go ahead.
I get so nervous about putting my material out there, and I get nervous about continuing to use the jokes after I've published them online. But I did I went to a workshop in San Antonio when I was down there for that festival. And the ladies were saying, they were bookers and promoters and on the panel. And they were saying, post it all. We look for that stuff. We book based on your social media presence. And a lot of times the fans want to hear what they saw you say online, and they reminded us that, like, famous singers and musicians, that when you spend all that money on a concert ticket and they don't sing your favorite song, you're completely disappointed. And I had never really considered that point of view. Like, instead of, oh, I've seen this joke, that if it's their favorite joke, there's even open micers that I have a favorite joke of theirs. And every time they say it, I still laugh. I still get excited for the punchline, So it was a good reminder that I should start posting, and that even if somebody's heard the joke, if they liked it, they don't care.
Well, and let me make it a little easier, right? Is your material funny, or are you funny and you create material?
Wow.
So that's what I'm saying. And I got to get better at it myself. And this is one, like, goose talking to the gander here. You know what I mean? Preaching to the choir. But what I'm noticing is, man, the drivers are the personality stuff. So not necessarily posting a solid joke of you on stage telling a joke. But when you're in 7-Eleven and you find something ignorant, or you're, at Walmart and there's something silly or funny there, you grab your phone, boom, live to Instagram. Are you guys looking at this? $8.99 for eggs? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And you're like, if I was 22, I'd have to be selling a bit to get a bit. I'd have to be. You're like, I'll sell eggs to a couple dreaming of a baby to get some egg. What I'm not saying that's funny. I'm just saying, it's that kind of everyday thing. And do that when you're in your car and you're rolling through Tulsa traffic. And be like, oh yeah, this is the Boondocks. All right, look at this traffic. Express your life and how you feel, and people get to know you. You don't have, every clip you share doesn't have to be gut busting hilarious. It has to be interesting, insightful, right? There's a lot of there are very successful comedians who do podcasts, and there's not a lot of comedy on those podcasts. But they're still making millions of dollars, getting hundreds of thousands, millions of views because they're interesting, right? The number one thing is don't be boring. The number two thing is be interesting. And the number three thing is be funny. Now, you have to have all three. You can't leave any one of them out. But number one, don't be boring. It doesn't matter how funny your material is. If the audience feels like it's nails on a chalkboard to listen to you, it doesn't matter. Then secondly, be interesting. Be somebody that's talking about something interesting enough that people want to watch, or at least care enough about what you're talking about that other people get that and vibe. Yeah. And then be funny. So, you're an interesting person. You live an interesting life. You know what I mean? A lot of your cool thoughts. And I think that's the transformation that we got to jump on. Is before it was dropping a tweet, dropping a post on Facebook. And now it literally is going live for 2 minutes, going live for 3 minutes,
Yeah.
telling people about your day. And to the point of, in a lot of the people I work with in my little groups, they're saying it almost doesn't matter that you release the full show. Like, for instance, we're doing an hour-ish, right? It almost isn't as important that I release this full show, and we're live, so it's going to go up and be released. But it's more important that I drop the 4 or 5 clips I'm going to get from the show. They're going to get way more views, way more views. They're going to get way more interaction. More people who are not in my immediate circle and network are going to see them. So I'm reaching out and trying to do growth there. So clips are key. So think about that. Think about your shorts. Think about how you live your life. Funny things that could happen. You could be cooking dinner. You could be going to dinner. You know what I mean? So that kind of thing. Are you dating? We would love to see that. Are you on Bumble?
No, I'm not.
I would join a dating site just for comedy. If I were you, I would join a dating site just for comedy. Like, let's see who are we going out with tonight, people, and just swipe, and then we get to see who you're going out with tonight. That would be hilarious.
That would be fun. That would be fun because I get some real interesting ones.
I bet.
Yeah,
especially if a lot of your interaction are comedy clubs and comedy shows. The men you're interacting with, right? An interesting bunch, right? So I'm just saying something like that we might love to see. You know what I mean? And it's interesting. And what's cool is you can do it in 2-3 minutes, right? So if you drop 2 or 3 minutes of something and I want to see more of it, well, then you got me. You got me hooked. Then I want to see more of it. Then I'm looking forward to it. So
well, you should get on there and check out my TikTok. I feel like I've been much braver on TikTok. Just because it's not, it's all strangers, really. I have some friends on there, but it's a lot more open than my Facebook and Instagram, Yeah. And I need to get out of this thought that, like my Instagram's all reels and pictures of comedy. And, my TikTok is just, like you were saying, anything. It's me talking. It's, me making some jokes, me cooking, all the things.
Yeah.
So,
share that over to Instagram too.
Maybe I need to diversify my Instagram a little.
Well, and it not to get too nerdy with it, but it has to do with demo, right? And a lot of people on TikTok aren't going to go see comedy shows. One, a lot of them aren't even old enough, and two, they'll do. A lot of that group is like the Tulsa group. You know what I mean? The edgy kids doing the wacky rebel comedy. So. But your Instagram is way more of a comedy age, people that are over 30 that will buy tickets, that, what I mean, the support. And you can see that, like, if you have a couple of touring comics that maybe aren't, the top of the list, but they're touring, maybe they have a show, they do a little thing here and there. They're doing their 100 people at a club a night in different towns in America. So you follow them, they're on that level where if we attain that level, we're great for the rest of our life. Okay, cool. I'm making a couple $100,000. I can play, a couple 100 shows a year. You know what I mean? I have 100,000 people listening to my podcast, which gets me 30, 40 grand a year. Great. I'm in. I'm making a living doing what I love. It's hard work, but it's great work. It ain't digging ditches, right? So follow a couple of those people on Instagram, Facebook, that kind of thing, and you'll pay attention to the people that respond. I was at the show last night. I came to the show. It was great. And they'll post a picture of the show, be like, thank you, Tacoma. Thank you, Dallas, whatever. And pay attention to the people that respond and interact on social media from the live event, because that's where you want to be. That's where those people are. Right.
Yeah.
So, and for me right now, it's Instagram. So IG is where it's like IG is, it's, I don't know. To me, it's kind of in the middle. You know what I mean? It's not Facebook, but it's not TikTok. It's kind of in the middle there. So you get a big enough mixture of both. So, but
yeah. I like IG because you don't have to write. I feel like Facebook, everything's so personal, and everybody wants dialogue, and I can just do pictures on.
Stupid on face. Sorry.
I can't even talk. They're sensitive. Their egos are so fragile.
I feel well. It's. To me, it's like, okay, so Facebook is the dumbest, right? And I think it's the dumbest in that everybody feels like it's their house, right? You've been on Facebook the longest. You got the most personal friends there. You know what I mean? Maybe the most local interactions you're gonna get. So it's more like I'm at your house. So you're gonna be a little stankier. You know what I mean? Your feet are gonna be out. So you're not gonna be as, you know what I mean, tight. Instagram is you want to be pretty. You want to look good. You want to be, you know, quote unquote attractive to people, and it's not as triggering. The algo is not as triggering. You know what I mean? That kind of thing there. It's not made specifically to engage in, you know, political socio battles. It's more made to be a little cooler and more promotional, a little more fun. But you can get into some substance there. Then you have TikTok, which is all kids and candy and yoo-hoo and fun and be wacky. You know what I mean? And then Twitter is you have to be the smartest to engage. It's by far the sharpest, but it is also the ugliest and dangerous and most cutting and brutal. So there you go. You know what I mean? So that's social media, in my opinion. So what do you think? I close? Do you think I'm close there?
Yeah. I don't know about Twitter, but yeah.
Do you not have an account?
No.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
I don't blame you.
Facebook and Instagram was plenty, really, but I succumbed to the peer pressure.
No, and I hear you. Well, and you know, I do a news show, so I have to. X is where all the, like, you literally, when you follow it more than you would want to, you see that what they're talking about on news tomorrow is breaking on X today, and it is where the news is, like it or not. You know?
Oh, really?
It is. Yeah, it is breaking news. It's the hottest stuff because everybody's right there and they're dropping it on their Twitter. You know what I mean? All the reporters, all the news folks. But once again, it is ugly. I mean, it is. You know what I mean? You go on X and you make a post. It's sun shining today. It's like, you filthy, dirty Nazi piece of shit. You know what I mean? The sun burned innocent people 40 years ago in something, and you're celebrating the sun. Look at you, you're like, whoa, you know what I'm saying? Whoa.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah, it's heavy. So, but yeah, but if you can get on there, if you get rolling on there, I mean, that's where it is. If you're hot on it, think about when you watch shows and that kind of thing, it's X. And then when people, if you watch the news and you watch like TMZ and stuff like that, now it's TikTok for entertainment. But Twitter, it's like they said this on Twitter and they said that on Twitter. And if you look on X book, if you look on Facebook and Instagram, some of the hottest posts are X reposts, X screenshots that are reposted. So it's designed, you know, they got it, man. So
yeah. Well, maybe in a couple years.
Like I said, I think for you, man, Instagram is the money spot. I really, really do. Of course, your YouTube. Check out Rumble as well. I like Rumble just because you get paid immediate. Like, you can get into the creator program way quicker than YouTube, and you can start seeing like real legit return on your investment, you know, within 2 or 3 months of being on there if you build and do your stuff. And that helps. You know what I mean? Seeing a little money for doing the work helps. You know?
Oh, I bet. Yeah. Yeah. Can't wait for those days.
Right? Not in stand-up. You know what I mean? Not in stand-up. So as we're coming around here, wow, we're already at almost an hour. So tell me, what are your what do you got coming up? I tried to ask you that 15 minutes ago. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I've got a show in Krebs, Oklahoma on the 16th.
Nice.
Yep, an all-female show. It's going to be fun.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
And then I'm pretty open. My schedule's pretty open, really. Well, I mean, things seem to just happen by every day. But right now, there's not a whole lot on it. In July 11th, that weekend, I'm going to Michigan, to Drummond Island. It's an ATV park, campground island thing. And they've got a stage and a pizza place. And so I'm going to do some comedy up there. And
awesome.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun.
Those
up
are
in
some
the
of the
UP.
funnest gigs. Yeah. Oh, way up there. But it'll be summer, so it'll be nice.
Oh, it's gonna be beautiful. Yeah.
You're gonna hit it in the 6 weeks a year it's livable.
I know, I'm so in love with the UP, but I've only been there when it's nice.
6 weeks a year, man. But that's going to be fun because they love you. You know what I mean? I love those kind of summertime party gigs because it's just fun. You know what I mean?
They'll be ready to have a good time.
Yeah, your stand-up is like not such a big deal. You know what I mean? It's like as long as you're having fun with us, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be good for the crowd work. They'll love it.
Heck yeah. And then everybody check out the open mics around Tulsa. You may catch Charity.
Maybe. I'm closing there at Bricktown Tuesday.
And my friend, there you go.
Yeah. They call it headlining, I guess. That seems
you're headlining, baby. I love it.
And my friend Connie from Oklahoma City is going to be there. Do you know Connie? Terrible
comedian.
Names. She is a comedian. She's doing stand up at Bricktown. She and I met at the festival in San Antonio.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, so we connected in San Antonio, and she was from Arkansas, Oklahoma. I can't even talk. I'll just say this: we were going through the pains of comedy earlier, and that San Antonio festival was the hardest I have ever worked in comedy by far.
What kind of schedule did they have you on?
I did a Friday night show, and then I did a Saturday show over for Flash Laughs at the Artisan Distillery Bar. And then I hosted the after party at 11 o'clock at the festival. And then the next day I did the brunch show, and I showed up and was just dead. I mean, I didn't even know if I was going to be able to talk on stage. And I didn't have my face on, and I just took my makeup bag and was like, I'll check in and run and put on some mascara and some lips, you know. And I come in and they were like, oh, can you host? And I was like, oh my God. So I was like, give me just a second. And so I went into the bathroom and I came out and I thought, man, do I take the opportunity? You know, am I going to look back and regret turning it down? Or am I going to look back and think, oh, I shouldn't have done that. I was too tired to do that, you know? And so I thought, okay, I'm going to do it. So I got up there and did it. And then drove, then I had to stay for the whole show. And then drove 9 hours home. Got home at like 3 a.m, I think. Oh my gosh. But I felt like I got my wings for comedy that weekend.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. That was hard.
San Antonio is a great town for comedy too, though. It is an awesome town to put your name in. So look at all you're doing. Last question. We'll get you to your open mic. What are you accredited to? There are so many people that have been doing it so much longer than you that don't see the success you see. And and you're, not only building the relationships, you're hilarious. You're great at the craft. You're great at working with the people. Why do you think you've had so much success in such a short period of time?
Because I've done the business side so hard. I mean, I've done a lot of the writing side. I read the books. I've read the Comedy Bible and Mastering Stand-Up and the Funny Muscle or something like that. And, all the books. And that you do gain a little something here and there. Sometimes they're repetitive and, anyway. But the business side, I work on all my social medias. I promote all my shows. I feel like bookers like it when you're actively promoting. I try to sell tickets. I show up on time. I show up 30 minutes before a show. I don't drink or do anything to alter my state before a show so that I can bring my energy. And I think that shows a seriousness about it.
Just a couple hits off the crack pipe to get you in the zone. Other than that.
Well, I mean, sometimes I try it, but I'm just not as good.
I'm kidding, clearly. She does not do crack bookers.
I try to take pictures of everyone that is on a show and show them. I am a little obsessed with the pictures.
Except with me. Totally hurt my feelings. That's okay. Well, I remember, it was funny because literally I was driving back. I was like, I remember there was a time in my life when I had my TV show and I was headlining clubs and I was opening for, big name hitters, that the last thing you would do is hand me the camera and go, you take the picture. It would be like, what? It would be like Dave Chappelle and handing him being like, no, Dave, your opener's in me. And I'm like, wow, now I'm the you take the picture guy. Thank you, Charity.
Was that the group pic at the end?
I don't remember. I remember the pain. I don't remember the timeline. Okay?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Sometimes you just got to put me in check.
You're like, no, all these comedians that I like, take the picture with me and them. I'm like, I'm on the show too. You're like, don't nobody want to.
We do have some great pictures together, though.
Yes,
we
because
did.
I made you. You're welcome.
Well, I'm the one that suggested having a photographer, and you were like, no, there's only one person on the stage at a time. We'll all take each other's pictures. And then we all hung out in the green room. We didn't get any pictures of Juju on stage. We got pictures of you on stage, I think.
Yeah,
but
yeah, people did. I was taking a lot of pictures too, so I got a little video of him. So the video was way messed up.
We did
trying to salvage that still. So because the internet at the place and pop. So
yeah,
I got.
Well, my point is that collaborating with everyone, being professional when you're booked. You're smiling at me. You were asking, why I think it's helped or has set me apart a little bit.
I love it.
The just that stuff, just the little things, all the little things combined, I feel like matters. Getting good videos,
Yes.
And editing your videos. I mean, not editing on any of the content, but I'm such a nerd. I like to do the laugh ratio, and so I'll go through the video and tally mark all the laughs, and then I'll do like the minute markers, and then the minutes with the most laughs. I go back and redo a laugh. And so I make sure that my 5-minute clip is, if I have a 15-minute set, that 5 minutes is the most laughed at 5 minutes of the 15.
Yeah.
So just little things like that.
That I love that. I think, we just live in a different world. You got to be more curated. You know what I mean? I love what you're doing, and I think you're doing all the right steps. And what I love is you're doing the little things that nobody glorifies, nobody even talks about much in the industry. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, you're going to tell some jokes and the right people are going to find you and you're going to be famous. We make sure you tag a funny punch, and they don't talk about literally making sure your ratios look good when you publish. Little things like that get the attention of people. And I love that you're doing that hard work that, one of my favorite sayings is, it's a Buddhist saying, but it's big things come from little things. And it's true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The biggest tree comes from a seed, so all big things come from little things, a dream, a small dream in your heart, a stage in front of 12 people, you know what I mean? And then you're doing Netflix and touring. So I love that you're doing the little things to create the big things. And I love the fact that you talk to me. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thanks for having me. I was excited to be here. I was excited.
Absolutely. And I'll have some, everything is up now. Like as soon as we're done, you can go to the YouTube channel, Michael C. Hall Comedy on Facebook. And I'll pop it on Instagram. And then of course on Rumble, PTPod channel. And we're all there. It's all live. And then we'll be dropping some clips tomorrow is usually a clips day. And and so we'll have that too. Perfect. And then let's talk about, I don't know, next Thursday I'm going to try, but definitely next Thursday I'm going to try to get there. We'll, load up and do Juju's open mic also. So
all right.
I'll
meet
fun.
you there. It will be.
Right. Oh no, I'm coming to your house first. You're going to cook dinner. Did you know? I thought Ellie coffee. Can I get coffee?
Coffee. I've got decaf.
Fair. You're awesome. Everybody, do me a favor. Go check out If Margaritas Could Talk on YouTube. This is Charity's feature show she's on right now. It's hilarious and it is fun to watch. And we want to thank you so much, Charity Jones, for being here. Ladies and gentlemen, your comedian, my comedian. Where is it? Come on now. There she is. This has been PTPod Presents Charity Jones. Thank you guys so much. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And we are out.
Oh, boy.